So a key element to my job is walking into a room, being super, super confident and looking at a panel of, audition-y people, casting directors, etc. and being really, really confident and all at the same time, not trying to trip and not trying to say something stupid or forget your lines.
That's a hell of a lot of pressure, hey? Because face planting into the laps of the judges probably wouldn't be a great way to start an audition.
Clumsy as me.
Also, which makes me wonder, is confidence something that we learn? Or is it something that we have to fake until we make?
Yeah.
Welcome to the podcast. Too young for this, too old for that, where decades cross the divide. We talk, we laugh, we explore different aspects. I'm Anji. I'm a 53-year-old osteopath who used to be a banker.
And I'm Annie Lewis, a 23-year-old actor just starting out. And today we're going to do a bit of a deep dive on confidence, what it means to own the room, and whether you can fake confidence and that can lead to actually being really confident.
So Annie, I bet you have a lot of pressure and a lot of need to be confident with auditions, being online, standing in front of your class.
And I suppose, Anji, you have to be really confident when it comes to leading a room full of people, going on these big retreats, going to festivals, and also just in your day-to-day, looking after patients. I mean, I think you have to be so confident to be like, I can help you. I always think that with doctors, I'm like, you're so confident telling me I have tonsillitis right now. Like, how do you know?
Well, yes, and you would think that, right? But it's taken a really long time to build that confidence. And I think it comes from a whole range of different places. What about you?
Well, I think the same. I think I've gone on a weird confidence journey. I think I was really confident as a child, lost confidence when I went to drama school, and now weirdly I'm kind of building it back up again. But I would say that confidence, a lot of it stems from when we were first kids and where we grew up, what kind of family we had, the dynamics there.
Yep.
What would you say about that? Would you feel the same?
Yeah. And I would say that I was probably a really unconfident child, but there was a difference between the inside and the outside.
What's
So
so feeling unconfident?
Yes, and projecting it in a different way. So as someone who grew up with a brown face, but in a town that was predominantly white, so I was born in 1972, and there were two or three at the, I remember three brown families. There was this pressure to fit in, right? So number one, you stand out. And then, so you've got a choice, I suppose. Either you become a sort of shrinking violet and you try and stay in the background, or you confront, the challenges and the ways of being. But at the same time, you're trying to fit in. So lots of aspects there of confidence. But inside, there was always this, am I fitting in? I think I just covered up that insecurity and lack of confidence with being bolshy.
Okay. What's it almost like? Almost that feeling of not being confident, you almost hid it by projecting so much confidence. That's really interesting. And so, being like you say, growing up in a town that wasn't very diverse, it certainly affects things. How was it then when you transitioned as you got older, going to university and then going into your career at banking? Do you think that you kind of channeled that in a similar way, just being like projecting lots of confidence out there?
Not really.
Okay.
Not really. And to be honest, I think there's this description now of the introverted extrovert.
Yeah.
I think that's probably me down to a T. So in some social situations or with people I know, I'm super uber confident. I can come across that way, but always there's this little Anji inside worrying about what everyone thinks and how everybody is.
Yeah.
And I think that also comes from at the school I went to a comprehensive school. So again, there were maybe 1,000, I'm talking about senior school now, 1,000 children. It was a big comprehensive school. And there were just a few of us that weren't white, right?
Wow.
And also I was a SWAT. So that has to come into this too. So I was a SWAT.
Sorry, what is a SWAT?
What, you've never heard that word?
No.
Really?
What is a SWAT?
I suppose it's like an uber nerd.
Oh, Anji.
Someone who does all the homework extra well, sits at the front, teacher's pet. No.
Oh, I think that's sweet. I was a bit of a SWAT then as well. So.
Yeah. Okay, that's weird.
Just sound something.
I don't know. We're going to have to find out. Listeners, leave us a message on our speak pipe Tell us if SWAT stands for something. Because the other thing, so this is sort of relevant, is that I was put up a year when I was in primary school.
Wait, what? I did not know this about you.
No, I know.
You were that advanced?
Yeah, advanced.
Oh my God. Wait, so no, actually, this is quite interesting. So you were in a huge school, but there were hardly any brown kids. Everyone was, it was a very
Yeah.
school. And then you were put up a year.
I was put up a year before, so I was the youngest in my year by a long way.
We're
going to have to do a whole episode on that, like a therapy session.
Did you feel more or less confident being put up a year?
So in some ways, this is the weirdness, right? Some ways much more confident because I was relatively bright, I suppose. And so I was always the one with my hand up, like, miss, I know the answer. I knew the answer to everything.
Yeah.
But then I suppose socially, I was probably unconfident, if that made sense. And so it makes you stand out more.
Yeah.
And so you have to work out how to deal with it. And I think, there were big classes and it was a really diverse sort of economic group. I'm not from a posh family, I'm from an academic family. So there were all these things about fitting in. And so we're definitely going to have to do an episode about schools, because I know that you went to a really different sort of school.
Yeah.
And my impression, as someone who went to a comprehensive school but has sent her children to private school, sorry everyone, don't hate me, is that actually, and that was one of the reasons that private schools seem to engender that confidence at a really early age. What do you think about that?
Oh, I agree. To the short answer, I teach at a range of different schools. For context, I teach drama, public speaking at a range of different schools, from really, really expensive private schools to, like kind of not normal state schools, but state schools that with good funding. And then I teach at state schools which have less funding. And so I teach a whole rich tapestry of schools.
So tell me about when you were growing up, because you went to, because you met my son the other day.
Yeah.
And you told him where you'd gone to school.
Well, yeah.
And you and Buddy were still at the school at the same time.
Yes,
right?
Like upper sixth, and Buddy
when Buddy was in the year 7 or something.
Yeah.
But he's been to your school to play sport.
Yeah.
And what did he say? He said it's super posh.
I mean, it's weird because when I was at my school, it was always branded as like, it is posh, but also it was like, we had a lot of people in my year who had like very hard work and quite middle class parents. Like a lot of my friends like are super posh or like oligarchs or anything like that. They're quite grounded, normal, hardworking people, to their credit. But I definitely, since I've gone into teaching, have reflected back on my time at school. Naturally, it makes me think about it. And I think, oh my gosh. And I actually went back to my school to do a speech recently. And I love my school. But it did just instill this absolute sense of confidence. My school was very good at encouraging everyone to find a niche. And not in like a we're going to box you in way, but in a, if you're great at music, we're going to encourage that because you should flourish in that. If you're really academic, we're going to encourage that. I was great at drama. We're going to push that. That's great. And that, really changed my whole career path. So it did, even though I was a very insecure teenager, I was not like very confident in my looks or anything like that. But it did kind of really instill this, I can do anything in a weird way. And this work ethic, this fierce work ethic. So now when I go into schools that I think maybe, they can't offer that, I try and instill that absolute, you can do anything. And also we were constantly just stretched. Like you had to read an assembly, you had to do things, and you're like, gosh, I don't want to go read an assembly. You did it. So it did kind of always push you. So that's why I think with a lot of work I do, I try and just go and instill that into as many schools as I can, because I think it's absolutely like so valuable. And I don't think you can start at an early enough age, teaching confidence and teaching the power to walk into a room.
So it's about that owning the room, right? Whether you feel the confidence or not, inevitably. And for me, I think that's what I see in you, and you saying that you learnt that at a really young age.
Yeah, I think so. Because even a lot of the time, I don't feel like, especially for an audition, I might not feel that. I think I'm getting better at it actually, but I might not feel that confident. You always feel the same way most people I imagine do before a job interview.
Yeah.
But as I'm getting older, it is trickling more into my actual sense of self. But I think if you can, as a starting point, fake it,
yeah,
that's worth a hell of a lot. That power to walk into a room and look someone in the eye and shake their hand.
And that's what, do you feel you were taught that at school?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because I wasn't taught that at school, interestingly. When you go into a room, do you always feel like you've earned the right to be there?
No, actually, I think that's a lot of people think that I might feel that because of the school I went to, but actually, I personally don't. I always I get quite a lot of imposter syndrome. My first day at Malfi, I walked in and I thought, oh my God, I shouldn't be here. I thought I shouldn't be here. Some audition rooms I've been in, I thought, oh God, I'm not good enough to be here. And I'm really trying to change that. So I think that depends on the career you go into and personality more.
Yeah. And also then going back to, so, we've come from different backgrounds in terms of our schools. Do you think that how your parents are with you influences your confidence? Because one of the different things between us, and we only found this out today, is that you're the youngest and I'm the oldest.
Yeah. Which I find so interesting, because I said to you, when I first meet people, like, or not when I first meet people, like, but if I'm on a date with someone, I always be like, so are you the youngest, oldest, middle child, or are you an only child? How's that affected you in life? Interesting.
Dating advice with Annie Lewis.
And then I'll be like, full background check, please. But seriously,
You probably have MI5 in your ear anyway. So the question was, as the youngest child, do you think you've got different confidence to your older siblings without dobbing anyone in?
No. It's really interesting, actually. I think I've learned so much from my older siblings. And I think they're so impressive. And I think I am who I am today because of having two older siblings.
Yeah.
I am so influenced and molded by both of them. I think I have a fearlessness because I'm the youngest and I've kind of seen them do things and I've learned from that. So I feel like I kind of have this, and I take advice as well. Like, I literally text my sister before this being like, can you look at my website design tomorrow when you come over, please? Thank you very much. Like, I take a lot of advice and guidance from them. So I think in a way, I probably do have more confidence than what they would have had because I am benefiting from their life experience.
Yeah.
But I, growing up, viewed them as like gods. Like, and I still do a bit. I don't think that will ever quite shake me. My dad said to me the other day, he's like, I think you will always, I mean this with love, be the youngest. And I was like, interesting.
We're going to have to get the parents on as well one day, aren't we?
I want to do one with your...
So I was the oldest. Yeah, actually, we might have to get my kids and your parents. I'm the oldest. And so if I was the oldest in the 60s, in the 70s and 80s, growing up in that environment, super bright,
moved up a year and
so got two pigtails and really big, thick National Health glasses.
You could bring that back.
And a bit of a moustache, probably. So I would stand out. And then, I guess your parents with their first kid, and I know as a parent now, you don't know really what you're doing.
Yeah.
So you're trying your best, but inevitably you probably drop a few balls. And so maybe the oldest one has to build their own confidence more. On the other hand, as parents, when you've got your oldest, you don't have any other children, so you can dedicate all your time to making them, be the prince or princess of the household. So maybe they get more attention.
Well, it's interesting between you and your
4 and 4. So I'm 4 years older than my sister and she's 4 years older than my brother.
Did you feel like almost a response, like almost like you had to be confident in front of them, like instinctively?
No.
You didn't feel like you had to be like, oh my gosh, I've got to be really like carry myself or anything?
I don't think so.
Yeah.
I don't think so. We'll have to get the sisters on and brothers on and see what they think as well.
No, but I think, and were you aware of that when you had your kids? You were like up there, like the eldest and the youngest, the differences between that. Do you think? Are you aware? Is that something you conscious? I don't know.
I think you do spend. I think just because of the time that you have available, you probably spend more time with the oldest one.
Yeah.
And then by the time the second, third ones come along, your life is in a different thing, and you're juggling more people and more everything. So maybe that is true. I don't know.
So, Anji, confidence, do we have to fake it? Does it come naturally? Do you have any confidence fails where you've tried to be really confident and it's just been a disaster?
Oh man, yes. And when you think of them, some of them, you get this little feeling in here because you don't really want to revisit it. I got a cringe. So there's one that I remember, and I, as you know, used to be a banker, and we did a conference for some of the either advisors or non-executive directors who we worked with. And so I was probably in my late 20s, maybe early 30s, and all of these great and good were there. And there were people who'd sold businesses. They were all multimillionaires. You know, they were largely all older, white guys. And each of us that was in the team had to stand up and make a little presentation. And honestly, and it was in some posh club on Pall Mall or whatever. And I just remember, I can picture the room, but I can't remember what I said. And what I remember is just shaking and it all coming out like this in this horrible little scary girl voice. I know. I don't even want to go back there. I don't want to think about it. Yes, is that a thing? I've never heard that phrase before, but yes.
You know, but it's like, it's so...
I feel like I want to be sick.
Yeah. Oh, bless you.
Yeah, so that was not good.
No, and that's understandable.
And what about you? Confidence fails.
Confidence fails.
Is there one like that?
Yeah. Actually, I'm going to talk about today, I think, actually, for this moment, because I do think this was a confidence fail today. There was a job that came up in quite a bougie local shop in my town, and my mum was like, you'd be perfect for it. So I thought, yeah, I'm actually just going to be super confident striding with my CV.
Okay, old school. Yeah. Old school. Yeah.
I just handed it to them.
Okay.
I walked in and I walked past the shop, and then I went in Space and Chaos. I can't do it. I was like, this is so embarrassing. I can't do it. And then I went into the shop and I was like, come on, Anji, just do it. I walked into the shop, and it was to be some sort of like help out with their website, the job for context. And then I started looking at the really expensive clothes, picked up like a £500 coat, dropped it off the hanger, big smash, then picked up an Hermes scarf, dropped it. And then I was like, this is an absolute disaster. Let's just leave the shop. And then I thought, no, balls it. And then I went to hand my CV, got my bracelet caught on this skirt,
which is lace.
M&S. Thank you, M&S.
M&S.
Yeah.
That's your too old moment.
I know.
Right, go on.
I think it's actually quite chic.
Go on.
You double hate it. Come on, that is my too old moment. And then I handed her the CV, got my bracelet caught, so I went, hi, I have this CV.
Okay. All right, I'm going to stop you there. What was the scary thing?
Like putting yourself out there and just looking someone in the eye. Because usually when you send off CV or job applications, you're sending it off blind.
But you stand in front of people that you don't know doing sort of pitches, auditions all the time. Why was this scary? What was the fear?
Because I think it's putting yourself out there. I think the weird thing is when you book an acting job or I book a teaching job, I've been validated. That they like, no, we think you're good and I want to work with you.
Yeah.
And whereas when you're just putting yourself out there and you're like, hello, I think I'm right for this job in person, made me
so this was a cold introduction. Yeah.
And in my head, it sounded so like...
Okay, so I've got a question from the coaching world then. What's the worst that could have happened?
Yeah, they say no. Although just nothing really.
The worst that could have happened is that you'd got your bracelet caught fallen over. But but she still took your CV.
Still took my CV.
Yeah. Maybe we shouldn't talk about this in case there was...
Yeah, actually. I should maybe not talk about this just in case I do get the job.
No, I think it's honest that you were nervous going in.
Yeah, it's all right, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because they were really nice about it. They were really nice. The girl was lovely, by the way. For context, the girl was lovely. The show was nothing to be scared of.
Okay.
I just felt I made a tit of myself.
And that's quite often the thing, isn't it? It's our building ourselves up, building the event or whatever it is up into something that's really scary.
Yeah.
And then our confidence gets shaken.
Yeah.
So there's this one game that I was taught by one of my fab coaches, Chris, and he said, and the game is to play what's the worst that could happen? So to ask yourself the question when you're doing that walking back and forward outside the shop, not ready to go in or looking at, what is the worst that could happen here? What am I really scared of?
I quite like that.
And I'm not very good at doing it sometimes because, as you know, me posting on Instagram is the scariest thing that I do. Right?
Agree.
And that is that's where I feel I have no confidence in a social media way. But you, on the other hand, maybe do you feel that you're more used to the social media thing as a youngster or young person?
I'm going to let you in on a secret. Today, I re-downloaded Instagram because I love using LinkedIn. I love using Instagram for like our podcast, or I do actually quite a lot of like digital content work for brands like
Our wonderful sponsor, Wilfred.
check out their Insta. I love doing it that way because I find it really creative. But using Instagram to post sometimes about me personally, I haven't posted for yonks, and
Why?
I find it terrifying.
Okay.
Personally,
So there's a confidence. So that's the confidence thing.
and I'm actually just better if I just don't go on like my personal Instagram. I just kind of like, my acting one's okay because I view that as business. But even then, I'm a bit nervous to post on it. I find when it's posting about you personally and not about maybe like a business, I find that quite vulnerable and quite
Why?
scary.
What's the fear?
I think it's because I sometimes think Instagram can feel quite judgy over other social medias.
So the fear is being judged.
Yeah, but what about why for you? Why do you find?
Well, so I find that, but exactly flipped in the opposite. I don't mind posting about my personal stuff and where I've been, but the doing of a reel for work makes me very nervous because I'm worried about what other people will think. I'm like in a professional capacity, or even they might not be professional people watching. It might just be or people, but how putting myself out there as an expert.
That's crazy because I view you in really high, with such high regard. I would think you should have no fear on that.
I know.
I think that's.
Whereas this year, 2025, I did a presentation for Nokia.
Yeah.
And there were 600 or 700 people watching.
Amazing.
And so that doesn't freak me out at all, weirdly. But posting a reel hits me right in the confidence, in the confidence zone of not, how do you feel brave enough to put yourself out there in that environment?
Yeah.
So if I know who's watching, and so even today, right, we're recording here on Charing Cross Road, we could go outside and I could I could talk to everybody out there without, hey, come and listen. I wouldn't be scared of doing that sort of thing.
Get your milk box out.
Yeah, milk crate, and standing on it, no problem at all. But putting a reel on really hits it hard. It's very odd.
But I completely understand that though, because I work with brands and like reels and like, for example, my brother-in-law at Wilfred's, we just did a founder's story thing, and it's a very vulnerable thing. Whereas I'm like, just go for it, post it.
Maybe it's because it's there forever.
I think it's the permanence of it. Because one of the great things actors love about theatre is that you can go on stage and you flap a line and it's like a bit of a secret between you and the audience. And you can be like, I was there when
Annie picked it up.
You have great scenes and in the cast you have to remember. It's almost like it's gone.
Yeah.
Exactly, it's gone.
So it's exactly that. Well done. Thank you for that. The good insight.
It's on screen and film. They go, I hate watching myself back.
Yeah.
And I hate watching myself back. I just, because it's there and you can't move and evolve it.
Yeah.
That's why you like the Nokia thing.
Yeah. How do you feel that confidence has changed for you?
With age or in...
Yeah, for your age. Yeah, over time.
I think...
From school to acting school to now where you are now.
I think if people looked at me at school, they'd be like, Annie Lewis was so confident because I was a drama student, always performing in assembly. Was actually very insecure and very unconfident, but just had this innate self-belief. I don't really know.
Confidence.
Yeah. But still,
Yeah.
And then I went to drama school, and I think so many people, if you went to drama school, understand and relate to this. It takes you on a journey. And I lost so much confidence. Like,
really?
I really actually, looking back, think I had a wonderful time at drama school. Really look back on it. I genuinely do with fondness. But I really kind of at points really lost myself, got very unconfident. And I really doubted everything, like my ability. It was quite a roller coaster and quite a hard time. Like one person said to me, nothing you do in your acting career will ever be as hard as drama school.
Okay. Is that because they break you down?
Yeah.
I always remember, I don't know if you remember Fame. Yeah. Did you ever see that? Like it's in it from ancient times. And there was the lady, the teacher, and she had her stick beginning in the titles. And that's what I always think performing arts sort of school was like, we break you down or whatever the phrase was. Was it like that?
Gosh, I mean, my foundation course was brutal. My foundation course was so tough. And I really, by my third year, began to find myself a little bit more, but still I wouldn't say I was who I am today. And I think it was actually only been in the last year, 18 months that I've done so much growing. I think because drama school's so intense.
Yeah.
Learning so many different lessons, you're getting chucked so much all the time.
Yeah.
They'd actually, sometimes it doesn't give you a minute just to go and breathe and process it. Because even the holidays, I was working, trying to, working on scripts and stuff. So it was only actually, I think, doing my like a few professional jobs after finishing, navigating this whole self-employed world and building my own businesses and stuff like that, that I've actually really found my own inner confidence. And I think and also I was really young. I went to drama. A lot of people at drama school are older.
Yep.
I was quite young, and I look back and I think, God, if I went to drama school tomorrow, I'd have navigated it so differently. But that's fine. I was there at the exact age. For me personally, I should have been there.
Yeah,
that has made me who I am today.
Yeah.
So I think I'm actually more confident now that I've left education, and I'm paddling my own canoe a little bit. So, Anji, what was your confidence arc like through your life? You obviously then went from school, university, into quite a male-dominated industry and business.
Yeah, and I mean, that really probably was the epitome of faking it until you make it, in a way. I worked for an Australian investment bank for 18 months and then a venture capital firm. And, really male dominated, these sort of big, everyone's trying to be the top gorilla, silverback gorilla, taking up as much space. Nice people too, don't get me wrong.
You have to be a bit like that.
Yeah, and you're dressing, you have to go into the room, you have to win the business, all of that sort of thing. For me, I didn't have the inner confidence. And I think listening to your arc, your story, to who I am now as a healthcare practitioner and in the job that I do and the businesses that I run, standing, speaking on stage, retreats, festivals, all those things. The confidence comes from a deep inner confidence, actually, now that what I'm doing is helping people.
Yeah.
And I've seen and tested and experimented, and I know that the message that I want to put out there is authentic. Does that make sense? And for me, my confidence has grown, I think, largely because I feel like I'm in the right place.
Yeah. You need to tell yourself that before you post on Instagram.
I know. Thank you. You coach me
to record. We need to have that little bit on just a loop so you can play it before you post on Instagram.
Because when you say it like that, I feel different. Did you notice the difference?
I literally saw you light up. No, but it's not. I guess what you say, but seriously, because you must have had, let's be blunt here. You must have had to have, or at least faked that you had lots of confidence to move from banking into this other path. You must have you must have been very sure of that.
I don't know. That's another story, I think, because actually that was about hiding.
Okay.
And running away from one world towards another. And so that gave me space. But the other thing that I wanted to say about being older when it comes to confidence is actually you give less of a shit.
So this is what I wanted to ask. So does confidence come with age?
Yes, because you just don't care.
Because I'm feeling that at the moment.
Yeah.
I'm feeling like the older I'm getting, and I was thinking it the other day, the less I care and give a monkeys what other people think.
I think what I learned is that the number, in fact, other than our saying that's already been in every episode of this podcast of do your best, forget the rest. Do your best, forget the rest.
We're going to get a trademark.
Is what's the truth about the thing that knocks your confidence? It's what is it? It's about worrying what other people think, isn't it? So if we go back to your shop experience today, you were worried about what they would think.
Yes.
And I'm worried about Instagram. And what is the truth? No one cares.
And that much time thinking about you. Yeah, but it's true.
No one spends that much time thinking about you or me. So no one cares. And I think if you can embed that, sorry to our editor because we just talked over each other as well. We're going to learn to do less of that. But I think if you can embed the no one cares, actually that inherently just takes the lid off your confidence, scale, doesn't it?
Amen. It's true. The thing is that we all think everyone's going to spend as much time looking at our Instagram page as we do. reality is you open your phone, you have a quick glance, go, oh, okay, cool. And you move on.
Yeah. I don't think back at the shop, they're looking at their CCTV and your entry. They might be because you were looking at all the coats.
And then, I can't even rebuttal on that. Fair enough.
So it's time for our too young for this, too old for that moment of the week.
Our segment where we talk about something you felt either too young for or too old for. Angie, what's that for you this week?
This week we went and did some university visits, and I felt both too young and too old.
Interesting.
So too young to have a kid this is my second child going to university, right? And obviously too old because you're walking around and you can tell you're a mum. But what I do realise is that actually I could have the confidence to go back to university again. I've done 2 degrees already, so I did it once.
Of course you did.
I did it once, so I could go back again and I could have the confidence to do it. What was your too young for this, too old for that moment this week?
Ooh, I went up to visit my good friend Sophia in Birmingham, and we went on a lovely little walk around Sutton Coldfields, and we were walking, and I was like, I always joke that whenever I go out with Sophia, because she's super cool, that it looks like I have really cool, like, you know, Gilmore Girls.
No.
Like, oh, well, basically the mum and the daughter have like a 16-year age difference.
Okay.
Sophia and I don't have that, but I always think I look like her mum because she's tiny and very cute and pretty. Anyway, we were walking and then we saw these kids and they were just like super young and like super trendy. And I was like, oh my gosh, Sophia. I was like, they're running mad. And Sophia was like, you're the oldest. No, I don't know.
23-year-old in the world. Annie, what was your too young for this, too old for that moment this week?
About confidence. Bugger.
It doesn't have to be about confidence, does it?
Yeah, does it not have to be about confidence?
No, just tell me the story.
Yours was so good. Yours was brilliant.
Okay, while she's deciding that, look at me. But there's one. But then, you know, even though I'm 53 and I say I'm confident, something happened a couple of weeks ago and I realised I'm not really always. I went to a dinner and it was really fabulous dinner. And one of the guests was a very famous comedian, Ruby Wax. Do you know who Ruby Wax is?
Who Ruby Wax.
And somehow on the table placement, I was supposed to be sitting next to Ruby.
That's a high compliment, though.
High compliment, but I very nearly changed the place settings.
So you're mad.
I was so nervous, unconfident about what it was that I would have to say to Ruby Wax, and would she want to talk to me?
Outrageous. You should own that. That's because also I bet Ruby Wax had a fantastic time sat next to you.
We did. We both had a really good time. She's lovely, and Ruby, I hope you will. I told her all about the podcast, so I'm hoping that she'll agree at some point to come on. But yeah, so I had that little flip-flop feeling in my tummy and I very nearly changed place settings. So it still happens.
So I think that, if I may, obviously you were sat next to Ruby Wax because you've got fantastic chat. You're a funny, witty, fantastic lady. And you should use that as an excuse to build your confidence, Angie. Stop it. I'm being harsh.
I know.
That's a fantastic, you should feel hyped up from that. In comparison, when I was 11, I was at the Rose Theatre and there was an awards thing for the Rose Youth Theatre, and I was sat next to Jacqueline Wilson, and 11-year-old Annie. Oh yeah, and 11-year-old Annie was like, "I am exactly where I'm meant to be." And I chatted away to Jacqueline Wilson. I don't know if I would do that now at 23.
Really? Would you be more?
Oh, I'd be far more like, oh my gosh,
really?
Yeah, I'd probably be more like you actually. But I know I was being harsh.
So that's interesting, isn't it?
Yeah. When I was 11, I was like, no, me and Jacqueline, we're meant to be here.
Besties, pinky promise, Jacqueline Wilson. Right.
And a moment I felt too old this week was, I'm just going to say it, but better. I was in Birmingham with my good friend Sophia. We're both 23-year-old actresses. Super cool. Fun. Got the whole world ahead of us.
Yeah.
And we were walking in beautiful Sutton Coldfields and we saw a bunch of kids on their bikes, super cool youths. Went to Birmingham, we saw super cool youths, and we were being Karens. We were like, oh God, the youth of today. Look at them out there like this. Oh, they just rode past us on their bikes. Oh my gosh, where are they? Minding where they're going. It's nearly 6 o'clock, for God's sake, on a Tuesday.
And this, dear listener, is what happens when you watch too much Downton Abbey.
Right.
So, thank you so much to our fabulous sponsor, Wilfred's. And one of the things that has definitely bolstered my confidence over the years, or falsely bolstered my confidence over the years, is having a drink. Yeah. But these days, you don't have to just order a Diet Coke.
No. Wilfred's is the mocktail, but for grown-ups. It's a non-alcoholic aperitif stocked in a cardo on Amazon, sold all around the world. And it's a fantastic drink that you can have and feel confident about not drinking alcohol. We thoroughly recommend, thoroughly enjoy it.
Yes, and we'll be taking you on a tour later this year of a few bars selling Wilfred's. So, what's your takeaway from today about confidence?
I think for me, it's that everyone, because when I first met you, I thought you were incredibly confident. And actually hearing your story and learning a bit more about that today, I realised that actually it's totally normal for confidence to go in ebbs and flows. And actually, I think the reassurance that confidence coming with age is really exciting and should be welcome. And I'm actually looking forward to, I think, growing up and feeling more confident and giving less of a monkeys as well.
Yeah,
I think that's really nice. And that actually, faking it till you make it can actually sometimes seep into your actual psyche. It's not a cheat. Fake it and eventually you'll exude that confidence.
Yep.
Good cheat. What about you, Anji?
I think what I've learned from this is actually that confidence, what is confidence? It's not about the being bolshy, but actually it's how it makes you feel. And actually, if you don't care about anybody else, it's just about you, and just allow yourself to be grounded and steady in what you are and who you are, and go for it. And one of the things you said was it's about connecting to people often, and that's the thing that we worry about, right? What other people think. So let's go. Let it go. No one cares. No one cares.
So 5 episodes.
Yeah. So we've had a fabulous time today talking about confidence and owning the room. Next week's episode is going to be about
friendship, how it changes, friendship across the ages, and all about our different friendships that we have in our lives as well.
Yeah, who stays, who goes, and everything in between. So whether you're too old or too young, we hope you've found something to connect with in today's episode. Make sure that you come and find us
over on tooyoung.tooOld.com or our Instagram at tooyoung.tooOld.
So we'll see you next time. Listen back. If you click on the link, you can leave us a voice message. We'd love to hear what you think, and also ideas for future episodes.
Yeah.
All right. I'm Anji.
And I'm Annie.
And we'll see you next time.
Bye.